Hard to believe we only have 3 football games left that matter until the season's over, and looking upon the next season already, the coaching carousel is in full swing, players declaring for the NFL draft left and right, teams already having a lot of off-season discussions about players that will or will not be on the roster this upcoming season. Just like that, a really fun and entertaining season, and presents us with a really fun Final Four. I think coming into this season, people were optimistic that the Broncos and Patriots would take a leap this year, potentially be playoff teams, but to both be 14-3, make it the conference championship, I don't think so. A lot of people had the Rams pegged as one of the favorites coming into the season, and they were the favorite to win the Super Bowl for a majority of the year. And the Seahawks, I think people thought would be in contention for a playoff spot, but sitting here at the number one seed, favored in the NFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think a lot of people saw that. So a lot of parity in the league this year. It wasn't ran by Lamar. It wasn't ran by Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen falling short again. The Eagles falling short. People were high on the Bucks coming into the year too, and they fall short and don't even make the playoffs. So all in all, I think a really fun and entertaining NFL season here, Kev. But only 3 games left with these 2 this weekend and the Super Bowl coming up. Pretty upsetting that it's almost over.
Yeah, it was super fun, and it's still going to continue to be super fun. I'm really excited for Sunday for these 2 games. I think they both will be pretty tight games.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Can Matt Stafford go to his second Super Bowl with the Rams? Can Sean McVay go to his third? Do we get a Seahawks Patriots rematch, one of the best Super Bowls ever? Do we get a Seahawks Broncos rematch, one of the worst Super Bowls ever in that Seahawks blowout? A lot of storylines on the line. I'm excited to get into it. We start on Sunday at 3 o'clock on CBS in the AFC Championship game with the number 2 seed Patriots with second-year quarterback Drake May, first-year head coach of the Patriots Mike Vrabel with a really, really strong season. But I still think going into this, people still aren't sold on this team. But they are a 4.5-point favorite in this matchup at the number 1 seed Denver Broncos. After Bo Nix breaks his ankle, Jared Stidham will be thrust into action. Sean Payton has voiced all week, and even after the game, that he's very confident in Stidham. And I think, too, all year we've talked about, all right, the Broncos are a really good team. The defense is really good. But how good is Bo Nix? And Bo Nix is out of this game. And sure, he's had some really nice moments this year, but he's also had a few really poor games. But they've always turned it on kind of when it mattered most in the fourth quarter. Without Nix, does Stidham have that magic in this one to pull off the upset here at home? Over-under sitting there at 42.5, Kev. Who do you got going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC?
I got the Pats returning to the Super Bowl after a few down years after the post-Brady era. So I'm going Pats 24, Broncos 17. Pats cover the 4.5, under 42.5. This game's obviously different without Bo Nix being in it. And the big question everyone's wondering is, can Jarrett Stidham come in and lead a team to the Super Bowl after not throwing a pass in the NFL since 2023? I don't think he'll be embarrassed in this game by any means, as the Patriots defense has been playing very well, but I don't think they're anything extraordinary. And then the Broncos also have a very, very good offensive line. They have some weapons to help them out. I also expect Sean Payton to scheme up a bunch of stuff for him and take some risk. He's known to take a bunch of risks. We saw it in his Super Bowl with the Saints, the onside kick. And then they also have a very good defense. The defense, I do think, is going to need to turn in kind of like an all-time game here and make Drake May's life just miserable, which they're more than capable of doing after they led the league in sacks this year. And then it certainly helps that this game is in Denver. The Patriots have never won a postseason game there for all their success they had in this century. But with that being said, I just can't bring myself to pick the Broncos. The Bills were able to successfully run the ball last week, and I think the Pats will lean on that a lot. Drake May is not Josh Allen by any means. He's not as athletic as him, but he definitely can extend plays and drives with his legs. And over the last 7 games, the Pats have been rushing the ball really well, rushing for over 156 yards a game at 5.25 yards per carry. So the Pats are also an 8-0 on the road this year. And I think they get the win here to go to the Super Bowl in Mile High.
Yeah, it's a great point that you brought up in terms of the Patriots for all that success. They really struggled up there. And, this is one of the tougher environments. It's always tough going up there with the altitude is always talked about. but it's one of the better home crowds, I think, in the NFL every year. I think you have to take that into consideration. And I also think into consideration too, Kev, like you said, in spots where Sean Payton's been down and counted out. We've seen him pull out some tricks before. So I definitely think the Patriots need to be ready for kind of all tricks up their sleeves. But it certainly is a situation like maybe if this happened in the last game of the regular season, the Bo Nix injury, and Jared Stidham was able to win that wild card round or just even get that extra week of preparation and win the divisional round and then be going into this one, okay, maybe you could have some more confidence. But like, how can you really have any confidence in this kid to go out there? It's not like he before was a longtime starter in the NFL and kind of like, Case Keenum-ish type player where he's had a cup of coffee in the league as a starter, but he's mainly been a backup. Stidham has been a spot starter at most. Like even like take it to the extreme version with Nick Foles. He had so much starting quarterback experience before he was thrust in there for the Eagles. What are we really dealing with Jared Stidham? Not much experience and obviously not much success. So how can you confidently pick them? And I'm still going into this game like, how good really are the Patriots? And we've been saying that all year. I don't really think anyone's bought into them fully the entire season, but here they are 1 win away from the Super Bowl, kind of just a team that plugs away and wins games. Like was last week's game against CJ Stroud more about how good their defense is or how much CJ Stroud has really kind of regressed and struggled? And even in that first game against the Chargers, we know the Chargers have had their playoff woes with Justin Herbert over the past few seasons, and that was a team that limped into the playoffs. Now they get another opportunity here against a backup quarterback who hasn't played all year in Jared Stidham. I think they're going to have to silence people all the way until the Super Bowl to really kind of get people to say, okay, that was a really good team this season. So still some unknown. Drake May, what does he look like against maybe the best defense he's played all year? That was a strong defense last week, obviously, with the Texans, but the Texans gifted him so many extra opportunities, and Drake May still kind of struggled last week, had a few turnovers himself. Are the Broncos able to roll out that same formula? Are they able to run the ball and make this like a 13-10, 14-10 game? I think that's the only way that they win, but I just can't confidently pick Jared Stidham to win an AFC championship game. And if he does, I think a lot of America is probably going to be unhappy that they have to watch that in the Super Bowl. Would be a pretty cool underdog story, but I think a lot of America is rooting for, weird to say, the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl to give us one of the best possible matchups. So I'm going to go with the Patriots 23-20 in this one. I do think the Broncos at home here keep it somewhat close. Try to make this as ugly as possible. I think I saw two teams that are a home underdog in the playoffs by 4.5 or more points are 9-0 against the spread over those last 9 games. So give me the Pats to win, but the Broncos to cover. I'll go 23-20. Broncos plus 4.5 and the over 42.5. All right, Sunday, NFC Championship, number 5 seed Rams at the number 1 seed Seahawks, 6:30 kick on Fox. One of the best games in the NFL this year, just a few weeks ago on Amazon Prime between these two teams. If we get that game again on Sunday as the East Coast is snowed in and watching this game, probably drinking at either a bar or a friend's house with anticipation that no one's going to work on Monday, that would be a really fun environment to be in. So Seahawks 2.5-point favorite here. The standard line there at home over under is 46.5.
Yeah, I'm going Rams winning a close one here, 24-23. So Rams plus 2.5 over 46.5. I picked the Rams as my Super Bowl winner before the playoffs, so I'm not switching up on them now. But man, are the Seahawks scary. The Rams offense is still one of the best in the league after they led the league in points, yards, and yards per play this season. And the Rams also do not beat themselves. They're the least penalized team, and then they also rarely turn the ball over. Their defense has given me some concern over the later parts of the season, and they are also going up against probably the hottest team in football right now. The Seahawks are an NFL best 13-5 against the spread. They've won 8 in a row, and their last 3 games have all been double-digit victories over NFC playoff teams. The Seahawks absolutely just smoked the Niners last weekend, and Sam Darnold literally didn't have to do anything in that game. I think he threw the ball 17 times, and the Seahawks offense is very impressive. Kenneth Walker looks to have really found something, getting their run game going. I know Charbonnet is going to be out the rest of the season, so it's all going to be on Kenneth Walker, but he looks up to to the job, to the task the past couple of weeks. But that's not even the best part of the Seahawks. The best part of them is their defense. They're number one in points and yards per play in both rushing and passing. With this game being in Seattle, I thought the Seahawks would be favored by a little bit more, and I think they deserve to be favored by a little bit more, but I'm going with the Rams here as I think Stafford is ultimately going to be able to make a throw or two that Darnold is not. And also, like I said, I picked them before the playoffs started, so kind of just riding that one out. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to have a bad game by any means here, but I don't just picture him being a hero either. So I'm going Rams, move on to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, all year on any platform that I've talked on, I've said that the Rams I thought would be the NFC representative in the Super Bowl if it wasn't the Eagles, just because I trusted them the most. I thought Matt Stafford, Sean McVay, obviously the two key cogs there, and then when you have that duo at receiver and Puka and Devontae, the way that they can run the ball, a really solid offensive line, it was hard to pick against them. And down the stretch, that they really I wouldn't say sucked, but they really struggled. Kind of, they almost lost that game to the Panthers in the first round. They had a really bad first half in the last game of the season against the Cardinals, and then this Seahawks game, even they were dominating that game at the beginning, and they let it get away from them, and they kind of started a slide there. They just like the 49ers had like the 1 seed and the road to the Super Bowl with the NFC West title right in front of their face, and they let it slip through their fingers. Is this a spot now where they kind of have revenge on their mind? And the way that they were able to go to Soldier Field last week. And I think everyone expected that game to be a track meet, but to go and win that in an ugly fashion, that maybe they might have to win this game against the Seahawks that way too. Does that give them more faith and more confidence? And on paper, are they the better team, or is this just the Seahawks year? Like just like with both the Patriots and the Broncos, I think all year people have been reluctant to fully believe in the Seahawks because of Sam Darnold and waiting for that one Sam Darnold game. And I'll throw it back to Carson back in Miami, where you look at, I think it was, he lost 8 games in his college career or something. And I think he threw a pick 6 times on the last play to end the game, or threw a game ending interception. Is that what people are just expecting out of Sam Darnold? Just fourth down and 3 or whatever with the game on the line, and he throws an interception. Like, he's been really good for the past 2 years, and people still don't fully believe in him. So it could be a chip on your shoulder, prove me wrong type game. And the Seahawks with that defense, as you mentioned, Kenneth Walker and his rushing attack, and JSN versus Puka, maybe the 2 best receivers in the NFL right now, or at least the 2 best seasons this past season. One of those guys makes a key play late to give themselves that title this year. A lot's on the line in this game. I think there's a good chance, too, if the Rams win and Matt Stafford wins another Super Bowl, that he potentially rides off into the sunset here. So a lot on the line in this game. I'm definitely looking forward to this one more. A pure coin flip. That 2.5 point spread, I think, is right on. I'm going to side with the home team, though. I'm going to go with the Seahawks kind of being a team of destiny. I don't know if you saw that hype video that they released, but Mike McDonald in his first ever team meeting basically brought up this scenario, talking about hosting the NFC Championship game as the 1 seed in that cold, wet rain weather. It was an awesome hype video, and it just had me kind of more so believing in the Seahawks to get this done. So I'm going to take the Seahawks at home here. I think that home field advantage plays a big role. Give me them 30-27. We get another shootout between these two teams. Seahawks -2.5 over 46.5. All right, to wrap it up, we'll go with our touchdown parlay. Excuse me. 1 leg from each of us for both games. We're going to pick that. I don't know if we've hit one of these this season, but I've got confidence that we're going to hit one here for the Super Bowl. So my first game, my pick, I'm going to go with Hunter Henry +175. I think the Broncos are really strong at the corner spot. I think Butte and Diggs might not have that successful outings in this one. If the Patriots are going to move the ball through the air, Hunter Henry's been a really reliable target too in the red zone. I think he could be in for a big day. So Hunter Henry +175 is my first leg there.
Yeah, my first leg, I'm going Ramondre Stevenson +120. I think the Pats lean on the run heavily, and Stevenson has 6 total TDs over his last 7 games.
My touchdown for the second game, I will go with a Seahawk. I'm going to go with Jackson Smith-Njigba +100. Listen, I thought he was the best receiver in the league this year, and his numbers kind of slowed down a little bit down the stretch, but it was hard to keep up with the pace he was at. It seemed like every week he was over 100 and a touchdown. This is one of those games where the Rams corners are probably the weakest part, I think, of that team. I think JSN has the ability to exploit that matchup. And we know if Sam Darnold is going to have to drop back and throw the ball and must have it down, JSN is going to be the guy he's looking for. So give me JSN there at plus 100 as my touchdown scorer.
Yeah, my final leg, I'm going Blake Corum plus 275. I know Kyron is the obvious pick here, but I think there's some value in Blake Corum. Since week 7, the Russian split between them two has been 60-40 in favor of Kyron. Not as big as I thought it would have been. So I think he may get a few touches here, find himself in the end zone.
In that bet right now, $5 on that one pays you a little $253. So we're due for a touchdown parlay to hit. It's going to be this one. Hard to believe this is the second to last episode of the season, but always fun breaking down with you, Kev. Super Bowl in 2 weeks. We'll be back with a loaded show doing our favorite prop bets, our first touchdown scores, heads and tails, and obviously talking about the game. And as I said, I think a lot of people are probably rooting for either Patriots, Rams rematch too. I forgot that was even a rematch, or Patriots, Seahawks. But hell, if Jared Stidham goes out there, lights it up, that would be a fun story as well. So looking forward to conference championship weekend. Stay safe out there, everyone, with the snowstorm coming up. Look forward to talking in a couple weeks for the Super Bowl. Please like, please subscribe, and we'll talk soon.